What's up, Woodworking Nation, and welcome back to Armor of God Woodworks. Man, we in the assembly room, and I got something kind of neat that I wanted to show you today. Maybe something you've seen, maybe something you hadn't seen, might be something you're thinking about doing, and this might give you an idea of how to step up your game doing cabinets. So a while back, we did a set of cabinets, and the people wanted beaded face frames. So we bought the whole kit that you can do beaded face frames with, and Craig Jig makes all the bits, the two router bits, the sled. They make everything that you need to do beaded face frames. What are beaded face frames? If you don't know, beaded face frames are exactly what they sound like. They got a little bead up here at the top. And so what that does is that gives you just a little bit more detail on your face frame. Takes a little bit of time to do it, but when it's all said and done, it looks really, really good. It takes your cabinets to the next level. And it really, once you get everything set up, it really doesn't take a whole lot of time to do it. It just looks really cool, and it looks like it took you a long time to do it. Now, the way they used to do this in the old days is they would have, like, this is a 6-inch piece right here that goes on the bottom of an end panel on an island. So the way they would used to do this, they would cut this piece, this main piece, like 5 3/4, and then you'd have a 1/4-inch piece of molding on top of it that was a secondary applique. But this right here, it's all one piece. It's extra strong. It's no caulk joint. You don't have to worry about something being a little bit out of whack, and it's all made out of one piece. And once you assemble it all and get everything set up, it really goes pretty quick. It's a little bit time consuming at first, but once you get it figured out, make you a little cheat sheet with your notes on it, you're good to go. Basically, all you need to remember is 3/4 of an inch. Everything that you do on here is going to be set up on your table. Your table will be set up 3/4 of an inch less than what your main piece is. So if I'm doing this board at 6, I'm going to set my router up at 5 1/4, and that way all my stuff goes together. Now, I know I keep talking about this router, like, what am I talking about? Because there's not a router in sight, right? Well, there is. It's right here beside me. So hold on, don't get sick. I'm going to tilt you down, okay? So this is the Craig router table, all right? Now, this system will work with a lot of different router tables. We just chose the Craig because we were using the Craig beaded face frame system. So we wanted the Craig table to make sure that everything fit like it was supposed to, and we wouldn't have to be, adding different parts and all that stuff. This thing comes ready to accept the parts that goes with what I've got here. So what I've got is right here's my router bit. Now it looks like a shell, so it's 45 on both sides. It's got a flat top, and that's going to be used to actually make your grooves and everything in your face frames. And this is the sled, so everything that you do will be mounted on here, and it's got a vise right here. It's a automatic adjust, so you don't have to worry about finagling with screws and all that stuff trying to get it set right. It automatically adjusts to your thickness of material. And then it's got a handle right here, so you keep your hands out of the way. You don't have to worry about cutting your fingers off. And it slides with ease. You can see how easy that is. It's kind of off to the side. Stick your piece in here, push it through, and I mean, this is a jam up piece of equipment. It's real strong, it's durable. I think it would take an elephant to bend it. And this stop block works really good. You can flip it up if you need to, if you need to do something else, you can just flip this up out of the way. And this also is your center device for this. So this edge, the left edge on this would get lined up with the center of this bit. Now there's a mark in the center of the bit. I'll get a little bit closer to the bit so you can see how the bit is. There's a mark right there, and that's where you center it to with this piece right here, and that way all your sets are exactly right. So Craig really did a good job making this thing, and they made it where it's very user-friendly. And it's easy to, disassemble it and then set it all back up and repeat. Now, we do a good bit of these face frames. So whenever I was doing this, I went on ahead and bought a secondary router table because I didn't want to keep switching back and forth between my bead bit and my assembly set bit. So I went on ahead and bought another router table. Now, the Craig Jig router table has a Bosch router, like a 2 1/4 horsepower or something like that. And then over on my other router table is a Bosch router table with a DeWalt router. I don't know. We like to mix and match parts, and I just had that DeWalt router sitting around, thought I'd give it a whirl, and I think it's a 2 horse maybe. So anyways, we got some pretty powerful routers here for doing what we're doing. I mean, you don't need anything like that. You could use like 1.25 horsepower or something. It doesn't take anything as big as what we got here. That's just what we had, and so that's what we're using. And I don't like replacing equipment. And as much as we do these things, we needed something that's going to be durable and hold up. So I'll bring you around here and let you see the other router table. Now this one is custom built by Armor of God Woodwork. So if you want one, let me know and I'll let you know how we built it. But all we did was we were in an emergency and we needed a router table to use with our bead bit, because you don't want to keep swapping. If you're doing beaded face frames, you don't want to swap between the bead and your acceptance bit, because it does take time to set them up. And so any time that you lose is time that you're losing on your project, and it's kind of frustrating if you can't just go from one machine to the other and just continue to work it like that. It makes everything work a lot faster and go a lot smoother. So this is custom built. My dad actually built this, and so the table we purchased, and it's got a door right there that you can open up, clean all the sawdust out. We do have this vacuum assist capable. I don't have it hooked up right now because the way I got this thing set up, it really can't accept a vacuum with doing what we're doing. And we've got some storage in here that we've got, router bits and stuff like that. And Craig was so smart that whenever they made this beaded face frame kit, they came and sent a setup block. So this is really all you need for this Craig system, and to set everything up. And they give you this and it comes with it, and so you just make sure you utilize this piece right here to set all your heights and depths and all that stuff on the beaded bit and also on your style bit. So anyways, that's that router table, but let's get back to the business end of what we're talking about here. So doing the face frames, how do we do them? All right, so you see, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory with the bead on that other router table. I'm not gonna show you how we do the bead, you just run it through, simple as that. I've got all my parts cut over here, and so what I'm gonna be doing is I've got to cut for that 6-inch rail. I've got to cut the opposing acceptor right here, and so what you have to do is on these parts right here is you subtract 3/4 of an inch from your width of material. So my width of material was 6 inches. I'm gonna subtract 3/4 from that and go 5 1/4, and that's where I'm gonna set my stop block up at. There's probably another way to do that if you don't like doing math, but it kind of gives you something to think about and knocks out the monotony of the day, and it also gives you an opportunity to screw up, so it really makes you think about what you're doing. But anyways, we found the way that Craig suggests setting it up is the way that it's set up. So what we'll do is I've got it set to 5 1/4, and we'll run that through real quick, and it takes a few passes because you have to start with the bit with the longest end and then work your way out like this. So it'll take 5 or 6 cuts before I get all the way through it. So you want to go bead down, and I always mark my parts. You can see I got an X right there, so I mark my parts to let me know what I'm doing. That way I don't screw up, because a lot of these things, you might have like 3 or 4 cuts up the top, and so you need to kind of keep in mind what you're doing. So you just slide it in here, push it to your stop block, lock it down with the vise, and turn everything on. So you can see how it cut my whole slot right there. Now what it's going to do is come over here to the assembly table. So I've already got my 6-inch piece cut, and you have to knock this little edge off right here. You can see how it's on a 45. It's just kind of got the edge knocked off like that. And so what you do is you set the jig up, because it's a 1/4 inch, so you set the jig up a 1/2 inch on the other side. If you buy this thing, you'll see what I'm talking about. But when these things go together, they go together and fit really nice. If I can get it up there just right, but so they fit in there really good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these bigger pieces. These will be on my horizontals. So what I want to do is take them over to the Castle, and I'll show you our Castle pocket hole jig cutter, which is really cool. We've had it a couple years, but this is it. This is the Castle, and it's fully pneumatic. So we got an air line coming in back right here, and it runs off of about 65 pounds of pressure. Now you can adjust it depending on how fast you want your routers to go. It's got a router under the table. It's got a router mounted in the rear, so it comes up and cuts and then pokes through and cuts your opposing hole. And so you don't have any blowout on the back whenever you put your screw in. Like if you have to disassemble or something, it just makes it a whole lot easier, a lot neater. We actually replaced the Craig Foreman with this machine right here. Used it several times up in Atlanta at the International Woodworking Fair and just loved the machine. But you know, we still had our Craig Foreman and we didn't really need to replace it. And then we had a malfunction on that, and so we went on ahead and bought the Castle. It's a pretty quiet machine. It sits over here by itself, and we've got it hooked up to a switch over here, so whenever we turn the machine on, we got a vacuum that comes on with it, so we don't have to turn this on and then turn a dust collector on and all that stuff. You turn the machine on and everything comes on with it at one time, so that's pretty cool and pretty convenient. But let's go ahead and get these pocket holes cut in here, and I'll show you how quick they come in. You can see it comes from underneath, cuts this slot in right here, and then it comes from the end and pokes the hole all the way through. So let's go ahead and get the rest of these cut. Won't take but a second. Now we'll come over to the assembly table. And the way that that Castle works is it does have a foot pedal operation, and so you just simple as pushing the set screws in and then mash the foot pedal, and it all works by itself. You don't have to do anything. You stick it in there and it'll clamp it down to the table. It does everything. So if you're looking for a really good pocket hole cutter, I recommend the Castle. It's really awesome. I mean, I know there's a lot of them out there, but you know, from my experience, the Castle is a really good one, and they have all kinds of stuff. Castle offers all kinds of equipment, pneumatic drills and setup tables and all kinds of stuff. They got some really cool stuff. So check out Castle and just see what you think about it, man. Do your own research. So right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some of my assembly stuff and I'm gonna put one of these things together and let you see what it looks like assembled. All right, so we got our two styles right here. Gonna set them up opposite of each other like this. And make sure you got two that are cut like this. You can see how I got my top's cut out and then my bottom's cut out, right? Okay. Put them upside down. That's how we're going to be screwing in. So we got this little Craig clamp. Clamp it down nice and tight. I got my awesome Milwaukee drill, man. I love this thing. It's a little 12 volt M12, pretty cool. Screw that in. Then we'll come down to the end. Pop that one in. You might be wondering why we're going through all the trouble to do this. This is an end panel on an island. And so the customer that we're doing this for, they picked out their drawer fronts and everything, and their drawer fronts actually have a little bead in them. So I'm matching the drawer fronts, and then on their hood, they're having a curved hood, and it's going to have like board and batten strips on it. And so what we'll do is on the inset of this panel, we'll put boards on the back of it, and then we'll make it look like board and batten. So we'll have the beaded panel, and then we'll have board and batten inside of it, so it kind of ties the whole kitchen together. And so, you know, when you're doing stuff for customers, really think about, you know, what their design is and what their setup is. And especially with your hood and your island, you can really tie a lot of stuff together at one time, and give everybody something to talk about. And it really shows the customer that you really do put your heart and soul into everything that you do. Now, whether they appreciate it or not, who knows? But I try to take a little bit of time, because most people, especially whenever it comes to the hood and the island and everything, they'll let you get creative with it. And they just always tell me, say, hey man, just do whatever you think will look good. And so we just do whatever we think will look good. It's nice whenever you have customers that will just kind of turn you loose and let you do let you use your own creativity. Because most people that want custom cabinets, they have no idea what they want. They just, you know, they kind of have an idea, or they saw something on Pinterest, and you know, that's fighting your own battle looking at Pinterest, because all that stuff's Photoshop. And so that's pretty much it. So that's how you put it together. You can see how it all fits. We got to sand it and bond it and all that stuff, and there's my pocket holes, but all that'll be covered up, so no big deal. But anyways, that's how you do beaded face frames. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to Armor God Woodworks. Try to give you more how-to videos, and you know, some, like, we'll talk about tools and stuff like that, and try to figure out what's good and what isn't. You know, because I try to purchase stuff and just try it out and see if it's any good. And so anyways, most of the stuff we got here is stuff that we've tried, and it works great, and we've used it for years. So anyhow, one thing I want you to always remember is your relationship with Jesus Christ is the most important thing. No matter what's going on in the outside world, no matter what haters are saying about you, no matter what, Jesus Christ is the most important thing. You know, if you don't have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, comment below. Let me know. I'll be glad to pray with you. I'll pray for you. You know, we're kind of all in this together, man. You know, we're going through this world and doing our best for our families, doing our best for our businesses, and doing our best for our customers. And, you know, it ain't easy, man. If you want to get into the cabinet business or any business of your own and think it's going to be easier than your 9 to 5, you better think twice. You better have a strong head and a strong gut, man, because it's not easy. But I'm not saying that to discourage you from doing anything that you want to do, because anything you want to do can be done. But you got to put Jesus Christ first. And always make sure that you pour your heart and soul into this stuff, and it'll make your product so much better. But anyways, that's about all I got for you today, man. I hope y'all have a blessed day. Hope y'all have a great week and a great rest of the year. And hopefully I'll be back again with some more videos. But until then, man, y'all stay safe and have a good one.